This is looking pretty good. All the welding's done. The cleanup is done on the top side. I've got the bottom to clean up yet. But there's really no reason you need to grind all your welds down. I like just taking the cleaning strip wheel. A few I had to grind a little bit on some of these cross members. Just got them cleaned up, took a Scotch-Brite, go around everything. And I'm just gonna mist coat some epoxy primer on here. Now the owner, he's gonna take care of all the painting on this. So I just wanna put a mist coat on here, all the bare metal. I'm going to caulk it with an epoxy caulking, and it's a direct to metal caulking. I really don't need to put the etch prime on, but I like to hit everything. It'll keep stuff from rusting because most of the stuff there's not going to be any caulking on these welds. I'm going to take the seam sealer and I'm going to do all the seams. A few places I've got holes where I run screws in. I'll just fill them with caulking. And some of the welds, you might have a little pinhole here and there. Instead of trying to weld a little pinhole shut, usually make more of a problem. So I just clean it up and then fill it in with the epoxy caulking. So I'm gonna get some primer on here now. While that's setting up, I'm gonna concentrate on the bottom, get that all cleaned up and ready to go. Next step is caulking this thing, and then it'll be done, ready to get out of here. Now when you're seam sealing stuff, and you don't want to just lay it over it, you want to try and get that caulking forced into all these seams. You want it to fill up any void you can, keep moisture out. And the tunnel here, I'm going to do both sides. I won't be able to get up above the transmission, but I think the owner may pull that out once he gets it home so he can finish it up. But I'm going to do all the tunnel. I'm going to do the seam all the way around. Alright, this job is done. Now my first video on this car here, I said how this was probably going to be a fun project. Well, I kind of need to look up the definition of the word fun because it was more of a challenge. It was interesting. It actually come out pretty nice. I'm pleased with it. Now, my opinion on these aftermarket parts, they're not bad. They're pretty good. They fit pretty decent, but like all aftermarket parts, you know, if you take a car and you need a fender and you put an aftermarket fender on and it's just a little bit off, but it's enough you can work with. You know, you might have to bend something or ream a hole, not too bad. The more aftermarket parts you put on a job compounds any fit issues. If it's just a fender, okay, but if you add an aftermarket hood, aftermarket bumper, aftermarket headlight, grill, you run into more problems where nothing fits right. It was the same case with these parts. I took the floor pans, put them upside down, mocked them up, and I put these braces all in here and everything fit real nice. But then when you put it in the car, they don't fit exactly the same because like this center brace, it fit on the floor real nice, everything lined up with these, there's brackets there that weld in for the seats to mount to. But when you actually put it in the car, that cross member has to mount to the perches on the frame. Well, all of a sudden you've got to shift that a little bit, so then that changes these mounting points for the seats, and the holes didn't line up exactly. No big deal, I'd ream them out and that'll work. When you get to the front, you got these other mounts here, these body mounts, and those were probably the biggest issue because they fit good on the floor. You got some line up holes, they look real good. By the time it's on the car, they're not lining up real good. Might have to do a little more reaming and adjusting to get a bolt to go through there. But it's an old car, it's aftermarket parts, there's really no other choice available. So it'll work, but you just have to think these things through, and one thing affects two more things or three things down the line. So it's always kind of a little struggle. But overall, I'm happy with it. I know the owner's going to be happy with it. I don't think I'd really want to do another one of these just to have something to do, and say it's fun. But yeah, I'm glad I did it. It come out nice. I'm pleased. So I hope you watch this whole series. Send me some comments, see what you think, how the job come out. Let me know what if you've had similar experience putting floors in cars like this and all the components and how it come out. I appreciate everybody watching, so thanks a lot.